Welcome back to Crypto Talk, everybody. So let's run down a few things with you here for Bitcoin. I want to run down kind of the macro thesis. 3 weeks ago, I called the bottom. I was ridiculed online, ridiculed in Discords, potentially, those who don't really know who I am and what I do. And it turns out we were right. So not to say I told you so, but the number of indicators that have been calling that we're so far away from a top, and that's what I'm going to run through right now, it was just staggering. And there's about 12 indicators I follow. I've only pulled out the top 5 to show you. First one here is the 12 multiple. So you'll see every time this indicator spikes, we have a Bitcoin top. Literally every major market cycle, even including the double top at last time in 2021. You got close to the let's call it 3.5% ratio, or the indicator reads about 3.43. We're not even sitting at like 1.2. So 2017, which everyone keeps relating this cycle to, is more of that 6.24 range. And then the previous cycles, because of lack of liquidity in the market, we had these huge blow off tops, which I don't see us having. We could have more of a 2017 cycle, but that's to be seen at this point in time. But here's one indicator showing we're so far away. It's not even funny. Here's the 200-week moving average heat map. Every time you have a blow-off top, you have these red indicators. And even the fizzled one in 2021, which was really just front-run by the global business cycle tanking and BlackRock squishing things down on the ETF releasing at that point in time for spot versions of Bitcoin. It dumped at that point. And you can see we're not far off from the 200 actual moving average at this point in time. And as you see, the closer you are to this, the closer you are to basically just range bound. So this is no different than being back here. We're actually very close to where this measurement is here in September of 2016, before we had that blow off top in 2017. And if you don't believe we're close to that cycle, more like 2021, we're kind of like the 6 to 8 months away from the actual blow off top. So that's what this one shows here. Pi cycle top indicator is another one. We haven't been this gapped since the accumulation phase during COVID. And I've spoken about this on X to my Patreon clients and several other people about how so much similar we are to COVID. This was a very COVID-esque type dip without the fear. You had 3 days of fear-mongering due to trade wars. So this reminds me of this. I can remember telling people about Bitcoin here. $8,500 pumped up to 11, dumped back down to nearly 10, and then we just pumped. So I think we're very close doing the same thing here. Until this crosses, this is also a lagging indicator, so keep in mind, we're just going to keep an idea on some of this stuff. As it starts to touch, you'll know the market will be overheated by other indicators, but this crosses is usually too late of a sign. You should have gotten out before that happened. But we'll pay attention to this one as time goes on. The MVRV Z-score, massive spikes. Usually, this is almost like a VIX indicator for Bitcoin. As you can see, we're literally on a bottom. I didn't even pull up the fear and greed. That thing is just off the chart low. So again, we're nowhere near a top in my opinion. And then here is the monthly liquidation range where the most amount of liquidity is sitting. And guess what? All the liquidity we just grabbed is gone. We have nothing above us until about $90,000, which is good. We got to get back above 95,000 to break structure bullishly. But in the meantime, we're in a great sideways range. All right, so moving forward, I'm going to pull up a couple of charts here for Bitcoin. Again, this is more of a macro perspective, running down a few things with you. At the very end, I'll do a quick video, I run through on the local price action and what I see moving forward with both the S&P, which I think we're very much pegged to at the moment. We will have a decoupling at some point in time, but for right now, this is what we're paying attention to. Massive cup and handle here on the weekly, going back to 2021. This does have a breakout target, a measured move of $285,000. That's kind of in my wheelhouse of several different measurements, which we'll get into. We can go up to mathematically as high as 340. Will we get there? I don't know. I think everyone should be happy once we hit 160, which is in the target book here. So each time we had this weekly cross, bullish cross, which we're about to have if we have a bullish close, At this point in time, Bitcoin is sitting at about 85,000. Maybe this is not right. This is right. It's MEXC. So if the BLX chart, by the way, is a little off, so don't pay attention to the price targets. I've been out doing honeydew stuff today, so I haven't really paid much attention to the charts. But you can see every time this breaks out, we have an 85% move the last time. So I just did the same thing. An 85% move gives you the 160. And that took roughly 2.5 months. So that could take us up until June. That's kind of my thesis. April through June would be really bullish. And I think people waiting for a sell in May and walk away and having a bearish thesis this go around is not going to happen. So I think they'll be sadly missing out if they're not in the market at this point in time. This is something I've run down before. I'm not going to give a super long explanation. This video is not an hour long. But if you deduce the percentage gains the last 3 market cycles, we should have a market cycle top as high as $340,000. Yes, we got hosed the last market cycle. Many things, global debt cycle and global business cycle ended a lot earlier. Due to COVID, we had a massive blow off top early. That's why we had this double top. I don't think we're going to have that. I think we're going to have more of a traditional blow off top at some point in time. Still projecting sometime between October and December of 2025. We could bleed as late as March of 2026, but by then you should see some massive bearish divergences for at least a month at that point in time, which we'll get into another chart here in a second. But all this is showing is a price deduction each time, so the percentage gain just keeps reducing since we have diminishing returns as we move forward. All right, so my own BLX chart, running down things. I've shown this for literally 2.5 years now. It's on the monthly. This is nothing more than just a stair-step pattern. I think that's going to continue. If you look at the last last 2 really halving events, almost 518 days on average is kind of where we are. Let's call it 525. So I've drawn 518 here. This one was 540. So we had the peak, and then same thing here. Around October 15th, 2025 is the projected market cycle peak. Keep in mind, if we have bottled up business cycle liquidity M2, things of that nature that blow off longer, this could extend this out further to, like I said, March or April. But I'm still have a projected market cycle low coming in around October of 2026. The peak lows have not really changed in all of the market cycles we've had previously. Now, keep in mind this. Also, bear in mind that this is assuming that the four-year market cycle thesis still is valid. So far, I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be. We did break our all-time high before the halving, but I don't really see that how that much plays much into it. If you just look at from halving to peak, it's pretty darn accurate, and it's kind of repeating. So we had a fluke, in my opinion. I think that was just due to the extra BlackRock money flowing into the system. But I'll have to wait to be seen. I can't really call tops off of this going that direction. All right, Bitcoin here locally, 85,685. Nice rounding. Money flow is coming back into the green again. Momentum is really good. We had, for those of you that follow me on X and also Discord and Patreon, I gave the signals for the double bottom here, and also the fair value gaps on a daily. I give those out. Not so much signals, but areas of bounce points and rejections I give out on that one. We are going to hit our head likely somewhere in the $86,000, call it $87,000 range is the next point to look for a rejection. But we have a pretty nice move up at this point in time. I think this will continue. The S&P, I did not pull up the ES, which is running in the background. The first time we've had money flow turn green since the dump. We've had bullish divergences the entire time. I was screaming on X about this at this capitulation bottom. We tagged the 618 locally, so that's a very bullish thing. We back tested it and filled the actual 786 of this local move. We had CME gaps to fill on the way up and way down. We had 2 massive ones. We've partially filled this the last one. We still have one above us. So Doesn't mean we can't gap back down, but I still think the overall move is up. The question becomes, once we hit back up here around the 56, call it 51 range, are we going to reject, or are we going to break back above the yearly VWAP at 57.77? So that's to be seen. AVAX. I talk out about AVAX all the time. This is my biggest play on alts for the most part. It's my most favorite. It's adopted by Bank of America and Citibank. I don't know if you get any bigger players in banking space that, other than those two, in my opinion, maybe JP Morgan Chase, but they don't really like crypto. So we'll just go with it. We are so far off. This is the best buying opportunity since $8. The last time I bought was this double bottom back here in 2023. And I've been DCAing what little money I have free floating around into this local candle here on the weekly. So I bought a bunch at 16 and $15. So if you did the same thing, congratulations. You still have a bullish divergence coming out. While we don't have money flow in the green here, we've got a really bullish scenario. We've got the RSIs that are starting to are starting to close the gap. They're turning up. The VWAP is turning back up, along with the bull div. I think that's really good. So I'll give you some quick numbers here. From today's price to the 618's 353 percentage-wise return. To the all-time high, you're looking up at 600%. 1618's up at 1,000%. Then the 2618's up here at almost 1,700%. I had a rough round number of like 350 as the market cycle top. It's kind of in between of these 2618 and the 1618. So we'll have to wait and see if that plays out. But almost everything I expect to blow past their all-time high. How far past is to be seen. If we get $15 trillion flowing into Bitcoin, or excuse me, the overall crypto market, that's going to be very bullish and things will outperform their price targets and projections. So again, we don't know. My little KDAO, this guy has finally turned green for the first time in its life. I am still about 40% down from my original, but I've been DCAing into this, so it's kind of come down even more. We hit our head off the yearly VWAP, bullish in this regard. This is something where I tell people all the time, it has so much promise. The Caspa ecosystem in general is kind of like a smarter, newer version of Bitcoin. So if you like Bitcoin, you're going to like Caspa. So if you don't like what I'm showing you here, which is a really tiny micro cap, it's the only DAO on the Caspa ecosystem for voting rights and things of that nature, then go buy Caspa. But even that's a great buy right now. But this is something where you see people throw $100 in and they make $1 million. This is the exact same scenario. So this is why I have money sitting here. This is where if you missed out the boat on Bitcoin and things like that, this is the ecosystem I think that's going to really knock the socks off of people. It's a quiet sleeper. Unless you're in the nerd circles, you don't know about these. So Caspa is a big one. And I've done another KRC20 videos. I'll do one again here shortly, kind of refreshing everybody where we are. But you have like Casper, you've got Nacho, you've got a few other ones like Bert. Those are other ones to be found. CoinX, if you need a link, I think it's in the description below. If not, DM me, I'll send you a referral link. It's the only centralized exchange that actually lists all these coins, the KRC20 ecosystem. So, but I do recommend you get an actual Caspa wallet. Obviously, self-custody is number one. But what I have here is to the all-time high, I've got 2,600%. To basically the inverse head and shoulder breakout target, you've got 382%. And then I forgot how I got this measurement, but just basically a penny. If this thing hits a penny, you're looking at literally 120,000% return on your investment. So that is how things make people stupid wealthy, just because they bought the bottom on something that took off. So this is an asset class that's very volatile, which you need to hold. It's very simple as that. So there's not much else I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to make sure everyone understood where we are in Bitcoin. Really watching this weekly breakout here on the RSI. Again, last time we had this hit an 85% run. That could bring us over the next 2.5 to 3 months to 160. And I think the entire stock market will follow suit. So with that said, nothing to say is financial advice. Best of luck. You want to find me, head to Crypto Blackwall on Twitter, the Blackguard Discord. need some private coaching, head over to my Patreon. I'm there to help everybody. Whether that's just reallocating funds, how to trade correctly. Everyone on the Patreon gets the Monco Pro Trader indicator. If you don't want to join Patreon, there's an option to purchase the actual indicator, but I don't see why not. I mean, spend an hour with me kind of reviewing some things and figure out where you can learn from, where you can improve, going from there. Well, you dictate the appointment, basically. And then lastly, the Fusio. We have a lot of fun stuff coming up with that. The wallet, it will be coming out, looks like the end of May at this point in time. The launch of the Fusio token, we're just waiting on market conditions to improve and or stabilize. So we obviously don't want to launch a coin when the market's crap. So people just don't shit on our coin, very simply. So obviously we're not dumb people, quite intelligent. So we want to launch when market conditions are good. So if that means delaying things 2 weeks at a time, we'll have to revisit that as we go along. So we will pay attention to the X account. Maybe we'll have more updates there. If you're not in the Discord for BlockGuard, please go ahead and join that as well. If you have questions, hit me up there. Otherwise, you can find me on X, like I said. So thanks, guys. Have a great weekend. See ya.